Hi everyone, Sergito back here again with some new updates and some reviews. Yay, reviews, right? I've had a couple people ask me recently why I haven't put up any new videos or reviews. Well, honestly, I've just been incredibly busy. Started back to work, got a lot of things going right now, a lot of irons in the fire, so to speak. And been doing a lot of gaming, so just haven't honestly really had a whole lot of time. But I do have the day off today from work and didn't have a whole lot to do, so I'm going to get some videos done today for you. First up, I'm going to do a trio of quick games, sort of filler games that are pretty fun and interesting. I'm going to start off with a game that has become quite popular lately. It actually did win, I believe it actually won the Spiel des Jahres this year. I don't remember if that was the award that it won or not, honestly, right offhand. But it's a game called Hanabi. It's a card-based game. It came out of Japan. It's basically it's designed. I know it didn't come out of Japan. It's named Japanese. It was designed by Antoine Bauza, and it was produced by R&R Games. And it's basically a game where you're putting together fireworks. What makes the game interesting is you get cards. However, you do not look at said cards. You put them face out like this, and you do not look at your cards. You only look at the cards belonging to other people at the table. Then there are these tokens that are on the table. These blue tokens, little timer tokens. And you put out the box lid, and you start out with there are a total of 8 of these tokens. Each time you give someone a piece of information about the cards that they have in their hand, they take one of these tokens and toss them into the box. You can only give complete information that can either be the number or the color. Cannot be both. And you can point to the cards, but you have to point to both. So, for example, in the case of my hand, let's say that someone else wanted to tell me that I had 2 yellow cards. They could tell me that this card and this card were both yellow. Could not tell me the numbers, but could tell me that both of these cards were yellow. Okay? And then say the person after them in the same game could tell me that this card was a 1. I now know that this card is a yellow 1. But that took 2 of our 8 tokens. Now, I can take this card and play it. That starts off a yellow firework. If we get 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 of the same color on that firework, then we have succeeded in building that firework. Doing so earns us the ability to take a blue token and keep it back. During gameplay, if at any time you realize you might have a card in your hand that you don't need, say, for example, the yellow firework has been built from 1 to 5, but you still have yellow cards in your hand, you can actually discard cards to gain some of those cards back. So basically the object is to do that. Get 1 to 5 of that color, that firework has been built, and it successfully shoots off. You earn a token back. So then as we're playing, someone points out that I do still have a yellow card in my hand. So I can then, on my turn, instead of choosing to give someone else information or play a card toward the firework, I can then choose to discard a card. And that also earns a token back. One thing I do want to point out is there aren't just 5 cards in here for each firework. There are actually multiples of some of the numbers. There are 3 1s, 2 2s, 2 3s, 2 4s, but only a single 5. Now, unlike any other game, this is not a game with a single winner. This is a cooperative game. So the object really, honestly, is just to get the most points. You get points based on the number of each firework you actually complete before the end of the game. So you're really kind of like competing against yourself, really, every time you play to try to get a better score. There are basically 3 ways to end it. If you ever get past these timers, there's these fuse tokens here. If you ever get to the third token, then the game's over. If you run out of tokens, then it's over. If you ever make all 5 of the fireworks, which I've never seen happen, the game is over. And if the last person to draw a card, and there's no more cards to draw, the game is over. So whatever, then you just calculate your scores based on however many cards you've made of each fireworks. If you've gotten all 5, then that's a 5-point firework. If you've completed all 5 of the fireworks, then it's a complete, full, perfect game of 25 points. It's very simple. It's very easy. Anyone can learn it. Anyone can teach it. Anyone can play it. It's a very simple concept, but it's fun and it's challenging. It's especially challenging to learn how to give good clues, so that everyone can sort of compete on the same level and beat the previous score. So that is Hanabi. Our second quick, fun, fast game is a game called Straw. It's put out by Alderac Entertainment Games, AEG. And basically the object, as you can probably gather by the picture and the name, is to not break the camel's back. You'll see on the card here, the weight limit on the camel is 50. Every person will get a hand of cards. The hand of cards will generally have a number on it, such as on this guitar, it has a number of 5. That number adds to the weight that's on the camel. You do not want to be the person that breaks the camel's back. For the person who does break the camel's back loses the round and scores nothing. Whereas the people who do not break the camel's back score points, I believe, equal to, yes, the weight of the remaining cards in their hand. So it's kind of a decent strategy game, because you want to get it to the point to where the person after you has to break the camel's back and really honestly has no choice. But at the same time, you don't want to do it so that you have too few points in your hand. You want to leave a decent amount of heavy cards in your hand so that you have a decent number of points at the end of the game. There are a few interesting cards in the game. You have the reverse card. So instead of going the normal clockwise around the table, you can play that and make the person who just played play again. So that's handy to have in your hand if someone puts it at 49 and then it's your turn. Boom, it's reversed right back to them. You have a copy card, so you can copy the card that was just played prior. And then finally, the other interesting card you have is the straw. If the camel gets to exactly 50, and it's your turn, and you can play this straw as the final card, no one scores points but you that round. So that's sort of the straw that, I guess in this way, did not break the camel's back. Since, it actually keeps you from winning. There are also negative cards, negative weight cards. They're all flying carpets, as you can probably imagine. So that one's worth like -8. So there's a way to kind of control the weight of the cargo that's on your camel just by playing the negative cards as they come towards you. There are Aladdin's lamps, where you can make the number anywhere between 1 and 10, whatever you want it to be. And I believe that's it. Everything else is just like a standard straight-up number. But this is also a fairly fun game. It's pretty quick. It's interesting. Anyone can grasp this. I've played this with tons of different people. People who've never played, normal standard type hobby board games before, and they grasp it pretty easily, and they see the joy and the fun in the game without any too much issues in explanation or anything like that. It's pretty easy to understand. It's basically just trying to keep track of the number that's on the camel currently, and try not to go over 50, and kind of make sure that the person after you is sort of forced to be over 50 and kind of hope that they don't have like a reverse or something. But that's a fun, quick game also. That's called Straw. Alright, our last quick, fun game. I'm leaving this one because it's going to be a little bit longer. It is still a quick, fun game, but it does take a little bit longer than the others. This game, I came across, I heard about it before Gen Con, and when I got to Gen Con and I just sort of looked at it and checked it out, I couldn't help myself but to buy it. It's called Mascarade by Bruno Faduti, put out by Repos Production. It's a bluffing role type game. It's similar to several games that are out there. Has aspects of several of them. Games like I would sort of put it in the realm of Avalon or The Resistance. Things like games like that. I'm drawing a blank on a few of the others that it has similarities to. But basically, it's a very expandable game. You can play it with a few people or a lot of people. It goes anywhere from 2 to 13 people. Everyone will get a roll card like this. They're beautiful cards, by the way. If you are similar or if you're familiar at all with Dixit, it's that size card. And the art, as you can see, is beautiful. And you have several roles like Peasant, Spy, Witch, etc. And based on your role, you have an ability that you can use. Now, what's interesting about this game is it's less about using your ability than it is about convincing everyone else that that's your role. See, what happens is, let's say, for example, you're playing with 6 people. The first 3 people that go, they have to take one of the actions that's in the game. There are 3 different actions you can take. You can either take your card and someone else's, put them under the table, and either swap them or not. Up to you. You don't have to announce what you're doing. It's secret. And then make sure that yourself and the other person gets a card. You can look at your card to see what role you actually have, or you can announce that you are a particular character and use that ability. The interesting part comes in the fact that the first 3 people that play the first 3 turns, you have to do the swap your card action. That kind of puts that element of not knowing what card you have. I mean, you can look at it at the beginning so you know where you start, and then choose whether or not you're swapping. So then after that first 3 go, after that there's a big element of mystery in the rest of the game. You don't know, especially if someone took your card, you don't know if you still have the role that you had before. You can't look at it unless you spend an action to do so, to see if you still have that card. And you don't know if someone else took the action. So basically, if you choose to announce, you say, I am the king. That is my role. I am going to use the king's power. The king's power is to just take 3 coins. You start off with coins. Everyone gets, I believe, 3 of them. The object is to get to 10 coins, and the first person to get to 10 wins. So you just take 3 coins from the bank, and that's the end of it. Unless you go around the table and clockwise around the table, one by one, each person around the table has the option to challenge and say, "No, you are not the king. I am the king." Yourself and whoever challenges at that point, after all the challenges are finished being announced, turn over your cards. If anyone who said that they are the king is not the king, they pay a penalty to the courthouse, which is this little card token that's in the middle of the table. Whoever is actually the king gets to actually use the king action, and play continues from there. Anytime someone says that they are the judge, they get to take any of the penalties that were paid to the courthouse and keep those tokens. A spy gets to look at their card and some other card, and then choose to either swap them or not. The bishop takes 2 coins from the richest player at the table. The thief takes a gold coin from both players on either side of them. The queen takes 2 coins from the bank. The king takes 3, as I mentioned. The witch takes all the coins in front of them and swaps them with all of the coins in front of someone else. The peasant receives 1 gold coin. There are actually 2 peasants in the game. It's the only card there where there's multiples. If both peasants reveal themselves, then they each get 2 coins. The fool gets a gold coin and swaps, or not, 2 cards other than their own. So take a coin from the pot and then go taking your card and your card, and then choose whether or not they're going to be swapped. The cheat wins the game if they have 10 or more gold. If they have 10 or more gold coins. Okay, so I guess you have to win when you're at 12. I don't know. Maybe I was wrong with that. Sorry. I was under the impression you have to win at 10. It's been a while since I played this. Oh, you start with 6. So I guess I was wrong in that also. It's been a little while since I played this game. I only played it a couple times at Gen Con and then once or twice since. It's been a difficult time since I've had the opportunity. Oh, we have to have 13 or more coins. Okay, that's what it is. You start with 6 and you have to be at 13 or more. The fool or the cheat, however, wins at 10 or more. The widow gets coins from the bank until they have 10 total. And the inquisitor points at another player who must guess who their character is or give the character 4 gold coins. So, yeah, that's a really fun game. It's great in large groups. There aren't very many games out there that are good with groups of more than, say, 6. Resistance and Avalon are great for those. Ultimate Werewolf is great with large group. Without having to play teams, like everyone actually gets to play and participate on their own. This is definitely one of those games that you can play with a large group, and everyone gets to participate on their own. It's a ton of fun. I've played it, like I said, several times. It only takes about 30 minutes to play a game of this. This is another game that you can play with non-gamers. The concepts in the game are pretty simple. You just have to, realize what your role does. There are cards that come in the game. I'll just show you those here that have the roles listed on them. Plus, it also tells you what you can do. So, all you have to do is look at this card so you know kind of like what your character can do, and what you're eligible to do each turn. And it's really a ton of fun. It's something that I highly recommend. I believe, to go back, Hanabi, if I remember correctly, was, I believe, $15 at my friendly local game store. Straw was $10. And Mascarade at Gen Con, I believe, was $18. It may have been on sale. I think this probably would go for more like $20 right now. But still, all 3 of these games were $20 or less. They're fast, they're fun, they're easy, they're approachable for anyone that's not a gamer. They're honestly really, really great games. Check them out. Straw, Hanabi, and Mascarade. Until next time, have a good one, everybody.